Alright guys, today I want to talk a little bit about turtles and facts you should know before owning one. Turtles make great pets. We have a red-eared slider here. He's one of my friends Vicky's turtle, and his name is Drew. He's about 7 years old, or they've had him for about 7 years. And basically I want to go over some things that you need to know if you're going to get a turtle. Many species of turtles can live over 50 years, but if they don't have proper care, they're not going to live that long. I get lots of comments online saying, oh, I don't have proper UVB lighting and my turtle's been fine for 2 years. Well, he might be fine for 2 years, but he's not going to live out his whole life. Vicky had great setup for the turtle, but not the proper UV light his whole life. And if I bring this guy up close to the camera, you're going to be able to see he has proper UVB light on his tank now. But you'll be able to see, like right here, see how this is chipping up? I don't want to push it too much. And over here, chipping up, that's from not having proper UVB, and his shell just isn't perfect. Now he should recover. He has proper UVB now, and he should recover. But as I said, he's lived 7 years without the proper stuff. And if we get him the proper stuff now, he'll probably live a long life. But when you get a new turtle, I want to go over some things that you need to know. So first off, you need proper UVB. You cannot just put these guys by a window and say, oh, they're getting sunlight. He's got, sunlight and UVB. That doesn't work. UVB light does not go through windows. So he's not going to have any light, really, UVB coming through that window. You need to have a UVB light on his tank. Another thing you need for his tank is proper heat. Lots of these UVB lights are compact fluorescence or fluorescent lighting, and they don't give off heat. So if you have UVB but no heat, it's also bad. So they need a hot spot or basking area, depending on the turtle type, anywhere from 85 to 100, sometimes more. It all depends on the turtle type. I keep mine around 90 to 100 degrees, somewhere in that area, and that's pretty good. Also, their basking spot has to be completely dry. They need to be able to get up and out of the water and lay in their basking area 100% dry. The reason for this is they need to fully dry out. Otherwise, they can get mold and fungus growing inside their shells where their feet and stuff are, where they don't fully dry out. Lots of these basking platforms that are the floating ones that you attach to the side of the tank, or they have like a way to float them in there, floating lily pads I've seen. Lots of those, when your turtle gets on them, it sinks a little bit, or a lot sometimes, and your turtle might sit on it because he at least has something, but he's not able to get fully dry. And again, like I said, if he's not able to get fully dry, it can cause problems and eventually death. So you need to have, got cats running all around, so you need to have proper UVB light, 100% dry basking area, and you need to have proper heating there as well. You can get heating and UVB with a heat plus UVB light. At night, you do not need any type of heat or UVB. You can have your lights turn off at night. Just like in nature, when the sun goes down, it gets a little cooler, and they're perfectly fine with no lights at night. You don't have to put a red heat light on or anything like that at night. They're fine at night. Also check your species and make sure that you have proper water temperature. If they don't have the proper water temperature, they're not going to do very well. Lots of turtles don't need any type of heating in the water, depending on how hot your house is. But look up the exact species you're going to want to buy and make sure that you have the proper water temperature. If you need a heater, get a good one that you can set up and keep a consistent water temperature. Another thing about turtles, these guys require a lot of space. This guy's, let's just estimate, 1, 2, 3, he's shook on me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches long about. 6-inch long turtle currently, and he's going to get bigger. Red-eared sliders can get up to a foot long. You need to have 1 inch of tank, 10 gallons of tank per inch of turtle. So this guy's currently 6 inches. He should have a 60-gallon tank, and he's only going to keep getting bigger. So really his tank, when he's an adult size, should be 100 gallons or more. And it's best to just buy a larger tank when you first get them so you don't have to keep changing tanks. Some people think, oh, it's a baby turtle, the tank's too big for him. It's not true at all. Whenever I've had baby turtles, I'll put them in at least a 40-gallon, usually larger, and they're completely fine. People think, oh, they're so small they're going to drown. It's not true. And you can lower the water level, and then as they get older, raise it up a little bit higher and higher and higher. Think about in the nature or in wild. little baby turtles go into big lakes, big rivers, and so on. They're not going to drown from having a few inches of water. So that's, don't put a little turtle in a tiny tank and then let them outgrow the tank really fast. Like I said, for red-eared sliders, you're going to need a 100-gallon tank or larger by the time they're, a couple years old and become an adult. This guy seems to have grown a little smaller or slower. It could be a male as well. Females usually get a little larger than males in most turtle species. So if you want a small turtle, map turtles are great. Texas maps especially. The males get only up to about 5 inches, so they'll do fine their whole life in about a 50-gallon tank. There's also musk turtles and razorback musk turtles, lots of different types of musks. And the males of that species usually only gets up to about 6 inches, about his size. So you could do fine with a 55, 60-gallon tank their whole life. Red-eared sliders are very common, so are painted turtles. And painted turtles, the females can get close to a foot, the males usually around 9 inches. Get out of here, Caesar. And the females can get... Caesar, get away from my camera. And the red-eared slider, the females can get a foot, the males up to about 9 inches. So, I mean, you're going to need a big tank, 90 to 100 gallons, for any painted or red-eared slider. And these are very common turtles. They're very often sold in pet shops, and they're very often not explained how much equipment they need. Care is pretty easy. As long as you have a proper tank set up, care is pretty darn easy. All they need pretty much is food, and then, do some water changes at least once a month. And with water changes, you're going to want to empty out like 25 to 50% of the water, never the whole tank. You want to keep some of that good bacteria in the water. You never want to just fully empty and fully refill your tank. You want to do about 25 to 50%, take out that much water, put in some fresh water, about once a month. You can do it even more. You can do it every 2 weeks, but I'd suggest doing it at least once a month. Last thing is filtration. These guys can be pretty messy. Lots of people don't get proper filtration for these guys. If you have, let's say, a 50-gallon tank, you're going to want 2 times the filtration for any turtle. So if you got a 50-gallon tank, you're going to want to get a filter rated for 100 gallons. Or get 2 filters rated for 50 gallons and run them both, at the same time in the tank. That's going to be really important. One thing I like about 2 filters is beneficial bacteria grow on filter pads. So when you're going to be changing your filter pads, you can change one filter but leave the other one unchanged, and then 2 weeks later change the other filter and leave the other one unchanged. Basically, that good bacteria that cleans your water, you can't see it happening. It's really minuscule microscopic bacteria that grows on your filter pads. So you never want to just take one filter in your tank. You never want to just take out the filter pads and just replace them. You're going to basically be taking out all the good bacteria that's grown in there. You can have an ammonia spike if you do that, and your turtle can die. So it's really important that you get a filter that maybe has 2 pads in it, replace one at a time, and replace every 2 weeks or so, replace one and then replace the other. Or if you have 2 filters, that's even better. Every 2 weeks, switch off which one you're changing. So that's some information I wanted to talk about. Pretty much all the most important facts if you're looking to buy a turtle. If you guys have any further questions or any specific questions about turtles, let me know. Otherwise, happy pet keeping.